Harihi Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Parampara Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam. Om. So, we are in Bhagavad Gita, and we just started with our three shlokas completed, and the fourth shloka we just recited in our previous class. Today, we will be jumping into the fourth shloka. Atra shura maheshvasa bhimarjuna samayudhi yuyudhano virathascha dripadascha maharathah. So, Atra Shura means there are great and daring brave men, Shurveer. Maheshwasaha. Maheshwasa are mighty bowmen. Bhimarjuna Samayudhi. Those who are equivalent in strength or capabilities to that of Bhima and Arjuna. Now, because it is being told by Duryodhan, he is putting Bhima to the forefront because for Duryodhan, Bhima is the staunch enemy. Should this be told by Karan, he might have said Arjuna Bhima Samayudhi, where he would have given the prominence to Arjuna. That is again some psychological aspect that we just take into consideration. Yuyudhanaha is the first one, which is Satyaki, or the one from Yadukul. He survives the war actually, and then eventually becomes the cause of Yadukul's destruction itself. Right, so we can talk about those things at some other point in time. But Yuyudhana is from the Yadav Kul, and he is kind of a very close ally for Krishna. Virataha, king of Matsya, is Virataha. Right, this is the place where Pandavas spent the Ajnatavasa. He was killed on the 15th day by Dronacharya. Virata is the father-in-law of Abhimanyu, and he is the father of Uttara, Parikshit's grandfather. Drupadaha, this is king of Panchala and the father of Draupadi and Drishtadhyumna. He was killed on the 11th day of the war by Dronacharya. Maharathaha, the leaders of an Akshahuni, the great fighters. Both can be used to attribute a meaning to the word Maharathaha. So, if you put it in a contextual English, there you can see great heroes and daring warriors who are mighty bowmen. Those who equal in fighting abilities to that of Bhima and Arjuna, such as Yuyudhana, Virata, Drupadaha, who are all Maharathas, the leaders of Akshahuni. Before we jump into anything, we always have a check on ourselves. There are several scriptures where the first thing that they do, or somewhere in a critical moment, they will introduce Garva Bhanga Padalam. What happens is when your capability truly matures, when you are, see, I start as a kindergartner. I have no ego at all, totally, absolutely blank. But as I progress in the path of learning, I become very egocentric from within me. And this is a very natural occurrence that happens, right? And this garvam stems out of the fact that I develop the sense in me that I am the karta. Right. So as soon as I develop the ability or the thought in me that I am the karta, and I am the paripalakaha. I am the one who is taking care of things. I am the head. I am the boss. Kind of a thought as soon as it comes. It gives a check because it always sees others who are more capable than you. So it holds itself up till the point your capability matures. Once your capability has matured, it will get into a place where it will emanate from you as a pride, a self pride, garvam. That is the word that we use. This garvam is the biggest contributor to adharma, to papam, and to one's own sufferings, one's own downfall. And hence, in Shastra, we will see that there are several places where the Garvam is immediately destroyed from them. Now, Hanuman is one of the most famous one in terms of breaking the Garvam. There are several places. The concept here is to remove that garvam and develop the value of bhakti or devotion in you. Now, there is a place where Lord Vishnu does this Garva Bhanga Padalam, right? Narada will ask, Vishnu as to who is the greatest bhakt of Narayan. Then Lord Vishnu or will say that, hey, the great bhakta is this person who is living in a village far, far away. And he comes and sees this person is, very sincerely he works in his daily duties. And as part of the daily duty, he just performs his puja. Then Narada comes back to Lord Vishnu and says, you see, he is the greatest bhakt of Narayan, but he is just doing the puja for 5 minutes a day. But what do you say? I do that at all times, right? So how is it that he is a great bhakt? So to that, Lord Vishnu will say, okay, here take a bowl of oil, which will be kind of filled to the brim. You should not let the oil drop down and walk around this place and come. So he goes walking around and comes back.
Kitchen and that one.
Then he comes back. Lord Vishnu asks, okay, you did a great job. You did not spill a bit of oil and you have brought it successfully. And Narada feels very happy. And then Lord Vishnu asks the question, while you are carrying this, how many times did you think of me or say Narayan? Then it strikes Narada that he was so focused on ensuring the oil doesn't spill that he had forgotten about Narayana. And there, Bhagavan introduces, saying that this person who carries all his duties, in all the duty, he carries me in him. That is the difference which makes him as the greatest of the Bhakt. A big lesson for us as well to say that, hey, if you are going to show devotion, it is very important that the devotion is perennial in nature and not something that disturbs your functions, nor something that the function is complementing the devotion. They are two different things running in parallel in you at all times. And that is divine bhakti. In terms of Lord Krishna, there will be, Indra will become too proud of himself. The people of Govardhana will start, what is a chanting for Krishna and they will forget to pray for Indra, which makes Indra very angry. So what he does, he comes down very heavily on the people of Gokul, and there is a huge rain that comes in, and there is total flood and everything. At that time, we know Lord Krishna picks up the Govardhana mountain and stops this particular, uh, you know, uh, destruction being created by Indra. And this downs the pride or the garvam of Indra. So he comes down to Krishna, he understands the greatness of Lord Krishna, and that is where Indra says, "Hey Krishna, you will be called as Govinda." Right? Because the way that I am considered the Indra of the Devas, you are considered the Lord of all these cows, and hence you will be called as Govinda, is the way that that tale goes. But the interesting one is from Hanuman. There are several, what do you say, stories with Hanuman where he takes part in reducing the or in destroying the garvam in the people, in the truly deserving people actually. Once what happens is Narad and Tumbru, they will be having a competition to find out who is the best among the Veena players. They go to Lord Vishnu, who directs them to Hanuman. When they come to see Hanuman, they will see that Hanuman is, what do you say, in a mountain, in filled with, in a near lake or something like that. So there will not be enough space, and what the Narad and Tumbru will do is they will be standing, sorry, in the on the ice, and they will be just standing and on the ice, and they will say, "Okay, can you say who it is?" Hanuman says, "I don't know what this is. How do you play this?" So they are just laughing and thinking, "What is this? Lord Vishnu has sent me to Hanuman, who doesn't even know what Veena is." So he picks up the Veena from Narad, and he starts playing the Veena. Right? The divinity with which he plays makes the ice to start melting, and Narad and Tumbru start going down. Seeing that they are about to drown, kind of a stuff, they say, "Hey, stop, stop." And he stops, and immediately the ice forms again. So they are stuck in the ice now. So Narad says, "Well, I tried to play. This is what has happened. Because I have realized that playing Veena, you can melt the ice. Take your Veena, melt the ice, and come out." Now what happens? They are totally feeling themselves defeated. Their garvam is destroyed, and they are, what do you say, recovered. So the finities of the story is immaterial, but the fact is he addresses the garvam that comes in you to say, "Hey, who is the best of the two?" That is nothing more than garvam. The moment you start comparing yourself with another person, it simply means that you have the garvam. That Garvam was destroyed by none other than Lord Hanuman. In another story, what happens is Ravana, which we all know, he took the monkey which was destroying the, what do you say, that his favorite garden, and when he is brought in, first he's trying to kill the monkey who has come in as an ambassador. It is against the principle of dharma to kill someone who has come in as a dhoot. And so Ravana decides to insult the monkey and set the tail on fire. The whole story everybody knows. It is not that Hanuman was captured by Indrajit. It was more like, with respect to the Ban, or to with respect to the astra that Indrajit had used, he steps himself down and surrenders to Ravana. That is the first thing. The second thing is, despite all the negotiations or all the details that were discussed, Ravana decides to punish a Dut, which is again an adharma. There is a huge garvam to say that I am a Rakshasa, you are a Vanara, kind of a comparison that happens. This garvam in Ravana had to be destroyed, and that is done by burning down the Lanka as a whole. This is not seen as Garva Bhanga Padalam by several, but this is also used as a Garva Bhangam done by Hanuman in some of the schools. So I'm just trying to touch upon it, not really go into the details because we all know the story. Similarly, with respect to Bhima, as an old monkey unable to move the tail. Bhima says, I'm so strong, I can move. And he tries to move the tail and he's not able to move the tail. Then realizes that this is not an ordinary monkey, surrenders himself, and Hanuman gives the Upadesh to Bhima there to say that we have to overcome the Garva. Arjuna, what happens is he sees a little monkey trying to cross the river during a Tirtha Yatra. And he says, and you know that monkey is just absolutely immersed in Ram. Arjuna says, it is so easy. We can just use the arrows and build the bridge, right? And I have no clue. People say Ram is such a great archer. Why is it that he had to use the stones to build the bridge to Lanka? Had it been me, I would have just used the arrows to build the bridge. So the monkey asks, can you build a bridge for me to cross the river? And immediately he takes his arrows and he just shoots it and he beautifully creates a bridge. And he says, yes, you can go. And as soon as this little monkey puts his feet, the whole bridge collapses. So he says, okay, let me try to make it strong. And then he puts it very strong this time. Right. And he says, now you try. And he puts the monkey puts the feet again it breaks down. So Arjuna realizes that it is his Garvam which is speaking. He surrenders to that little monkey who comes up as Hanuman and advises and also gives the flag and says that he will always be on top of his Rath. That is how he got the flag of Hanuman. But all these are very, very important. As we learn, there are things that you will acquire. Oh, allow. Oops, sorry. There is someone. Okay. Yeah. Oh, there was someone who wanted some questions to be posted. I don't know, but okay. Sorry about that. So as we embark on this journey, there will be a lot of moments when you will see or sense kind of different realizations in you. It is a beautiful journey in Bhagavad Gita, particularly when you do such a deep dive. There are lots of places. Upon learning also, there are several who have said, they are great with Bhagavad Gita. That is, they have gone through Bhagavad Gita. They have read so much of Upanishads, etc., etc. People do speak about it. They feel pride in it. That pride should not come in us. So, this Shastra, which is taking us in the path of moksha, should guide us and prevent us from getting that garvam in us. Because the moment you get that garvam, it defeats the purpose of learning Bhagavad Gita. So, that would be the introduction that we give for this shloka. We need to understand that we do this in a very traditional way. As I said, in the first chapter and up to the ninth shloka of the second chapter, there is no Shankara Bhashyam. And we take this as a moment to fill certain values, certain introductions, certain stories and backgrounds, so that it removes any kind of samshaya in you, because with samshaya or with doubts in your mind, when you hear, the gyan doesn't get in. So this will be a long introduction, but a little fun-filled classes for now, till we get into serious philosophy much later. Going into the fifth shloka. दृष्टकेतुश्चेकितानः काशीराजश्च वीर्यवान् पुरुजित् कुन्तिभोजश्च शैभ्यश्च नरपुङ्गवः. So, in this shloka, the names of prominent figures in Pandava army are called out by Duryodhana to Dronacharya. The first one he says is Drishta Ketuhu. He is the king of Chedi kingdom. he succeeds his father Shishupala. Shishupala was a staunch enemy of Lord Krishna. But Lord Krishna, what is, he uses the Chakrayuda and kills him. This is in accordance with another tale. We will not go there today. He dies, Drishtaketu dies on the 17th day of the war, and he is killed by Karna. The next one is Chekitanaha. He was a Vrishni warrior coming from the Yadava clan. He was not a Maharath commanding an Akshahuni, but he had amazing mace skills with the Gadayudh. He was killed on the 16th day by Karna. Kashi Rajaha. Again, with respect to Kashi Raj, it will be continuously everywhere the term Kashi Raja will be used, but there is no name specified in most of the text. There are some places where a name is specified for Kashi Raja, but it is the king of Kashi at various scriptures in various places named as such or called out as such. The reference comes all the way from Adi Parva. It is only Kashi Raja. Right. So within Mahabharata, that is one of the things. And this Kashi Raja is a very, very prominent figure. His engagements in the war is not very, very, is not provided in detail. It is not clear whether he was killed or not. And because it is not mentioned, it is believed that he was not killed in the war. He survived the war. And because Duryodhana emphasizes him, we put an importance to his capabilities. Right? So he must have been a great warrior. Viryavan is something that Duryodhan even attributes. However, this can be attributed to everyone as well. Purujit, he is the brother of Kunti Bhoja or the uncle of Kunti. He belonged to the Yadava lineage and he was killed on the 12th day of the war by Ashwathama. Again, not a lot told about Purujit in Mahabharata. Kunti Bhoja, he is a Yadava king, father of Kunti. Details of his death or survival in the war is not mentioned in Mahabharata again. Shaibhyah, he is the king of Shibhi and hence he is called as Shaibhyah. He belongs to Ishwaku dynasty, which is the same as Lord Ram. Again, the details of his death or survival in the war is not mentioned in Mahabharata. But one thing that is very well known about Shaibhya is he comes in the lineage of Shibhi, and the king Shibhi, the original one, on whose name the place is even called, right? So the Shibhi, he is the famous one where, if we remember, he saves a pigeon from a hawk, but the hawk says that, hey, it is dharma that I eat the pigeon. And he says that I am a Kshatriya and it is my dharma to protect the person or anyone who has come into my Sharan. So I have to protect, and he says I have to kill. Right? So there is a very intricate area of how dharma can be established. So what Shibi does is he cuts his own flesh to give as much of flesh as the bird weighs. And this is again a famous story in a Puran, not Mahabharata directly, but that is what is the lineage he comes from. And hence, people in that entire lineage are called Narapungavaha, the hero among the human society. That is the meaning of the term Narapungavaha. And hence this Narapungavaha goes as an attribution, as an adjective to Shaibhya. Now, here in this, for this shloka, the value we will take it is into looking at Kunti Devi. Right, Kunti Devi, she is biological daughter of Shurasena. Shurasena is the father of Vasudeva. right? And hence the uh, elder sister of Lord Krishna, right? So that is the way that it comes. The At the time of birth, she was given the name Pritha. Later, she was adopted by Kunti Bhoja. Kunti Bhoja was a cousin of Shurasena. He was childless at that point in time, so he gave the daughter to Kunti Bhoja for adoption. In a Swayamvara, she marries Pandu, but before the marriage, she serves Durvasa so very diligently that he is impressed and he gives the ability to invoke the gods to get children. She tests it out and Karna was born. Everybody knows this story. Then Pandu marries Kunti Devi. Later he marries Madri. This Madri's marriage is also, it goes like it was due to certain political compulsions and based on the advice of Bhishma Pitama, Pandu marries Madri. Initially, there will be a bit of resistance or not happy or upset kind of an expression from uh, Kunti Devi. However, later she fully reconciles and they become extremely close as well. That is the way the entire epic is presented. Due to a curse by Rishi Kindama, uh, that what happens is Pandu tries to go for hunting and he sees a deer and he tries to he shoots the deer, but that deer actually will be the Rishi Kindama, right? And so there will be a curse that will be given to him saying that if you approach any woman with passion, you will die, right? That makes him dejected and leave the kingdom to go to forest. Now he's very upset with the fact that he cannot have children to continue the lineage. Now Kunti reveals her boon that she got from sage Durvasa, and with the consent from or with the uh, you know uh, agreement with Pandu or consent with Pandu, she invokes Dharmaraja to get Yudhishthira. Then invokes Vayu, Bhima is born. She invokes Indra, Arjuna is born. And then Madri says, hey, I would also like to have children. So they, she invokes Ashwini Kumaras. So she gives a birth to twins, which is Nakul and Sahadev. Forgetting the curse, once he gets attracted to Madri, and as he approaches her, he dies. Madri blames herself for King Pandu's death, and she, goes into Sati, right? She burns herself with Pandu's body. Now Kunti returns to Hastinapur with the 5 children. It has never ever been seen that Nakul or Sahadev are seen as someone else's children by Kunti. That is a greatness of Kunti that will be reflected all through, right? She would have always seen it as Pancha Pandavas, to the point there were people who have even asked me, oh, Nakul and Sahadev are not children of Kunti, right? Oh, are they twins? Kind of a stuff. But they are learning in the initial stage, but that is the greatness of Kunti. Her greatness can be summarized as mild-mannered. She held very high moral grounds and social values. She played a pivotal role in holding the Pancha Pandavas together. She was very respectful towards Dhritarashtra, Vidura, and Gandhari. Her personality is worth a study of its own. We can take several instances in Mahabharata and look into how she handled the situation. Even after Draupadi comes, how she moves or what are all the things that she does. And even towards the end, actually, after the kingdom is all well established, Kunti Devi, Dhritarashtra, Vidura, even Sanjaya, they all go to the forest. They go for Vanaprastha, and that is where they are killed, right? And or that is where they die. not killed, my mistake, right? So that is where they are, that is where they die. Now, even in that entire episode, you will see the greatness and the graciousness that Kunti establishes. Now, when we were talking about this in the class, in my earlier days, right, there was a question that was asked. When you say that the female or the female aspect must hold a very high moral ground for the family to become very good, or for the family and the traditions to establish itself and grow, why is it that this is not applied to male members? Why is it that this is only applied to female members? Right? Why is it that the female in the family should be constrained, subject to disciplines, as opposed to the male members? This was a great question that was posed in the class, and it was very beautifully answered as well. The answer was very interesting. The context of female or male in Vedic connotation does not represent a biological lingam, right? It is not the physical aspect of a body which determines female or male. The categorization in Veda is male, female, and neuter gender. For this, the reference that was given is from Garbha Upanishad, which comes in Krishna Yajurveda, right? And also in Atharva Veda. Pitu reto atiriktat purusho bhavati, matuh reto atiriktat striyo bhavanti, ubhayor bijam tulyatvan napunsako bhavati. This is the way that this particular mantra goes. There was a YouTube reference wherein the Garbha Upanishad was being discussed by some Vedic scholars. Definitely very beautifully done. But they said that, see, everything that is mentioned in Veda is good. However, this aspect is wrong. And they quoted the XY chromosomes and the male being the instrumental cause of determining the sex of the child, the gender of the child, right? So that was something that I was hearing in the YouTube, and I thought, hey man, you are totally wrong. The point is, it is not the uh, what the science is talking about is the physical aspect which determines the gender. But here Veda says, Ubhayor bijam tulyavan napunsako bhavati. The physical aspect doesn't change, right? A napunsak is also either a male or a female. That is the, biological or a physical attribution. But here, when they are talking in terms of this categorization, we should not be putting it into the scientific representation of XY chromosomes, right? I have not seen such an elaborate, in-depth declaration that comes in Veda. So science has definitely looked at it even more in depth. I'm not saying science is wrong either. They are awesome in their own study. But to compare that to Veda is a wrong way of approaching it. But coming back to the topic, in a kshetra, in a body, what the Shastra says is made of a union of two. The internal aspect, which sustains itself, which presents itself, evolves, conducts, right? This is the internal aspect of a body. The another is the external connection with the world. There is not a single thing in the world which you can say is, independent or not having any dependency. Everything that we know of is dependent and interconnected. This establishment of connection is equally important. The role of male attributions are related to this external connection with the world, while internal establishment establishes the role of the female attributions. Now, I may be a person who is very internal, not really externally connected, right? So I may be expressing more of a female attribution, though as a physical body, I am a male. Right. Similarly, someone else who is a female could be very externally connected and driven. They are expressing the male attributions. So when we are talking in terms of female versus male, here the attribution must be taken into consideration with respect to the role that we play for the Kshetra Paripalana. That is the way this tradition looks at. The discipline or Anushasan is applicable to all. However, the definition of the Anushasan will change based on the role that you are playing. Right? For example, to hold, constrain, and do all those things, a police is allowed. The Anushasan given to the police is different to that of the Anushasan that is given to a non-policeman. Right. So the Anushasan is role dependent. When we are talking of this Anushasan, which forms the basis of our Swadharma, we have to look at how that Anushasan applies to me. When we talk about Kunti Devi or look at the female being should be ethically very good and so on and so forth. These are all the aspects that we learn about the conduct of a female. You should not look at it as the what do you say, male, female in the gender division, but it should be looked at it from the point of view of what they do as a contribution to the society. There are definitely Anushasan that are applicable to the male attributions. They will just be different based on the roles that they play. It is important to remember that the male and the female aspect, they coexist. That coexistence is the core. It is not I am superior over the other, or the other is inferior, superior over to me, or that they are two different beings. No, they coexist. For the existence, we need such coexistence to be there. If the coexistence is not there, then it is not going to lead us towards anything. That is the value that I thought will be useful in this place. Generally, it is not part of the way that we go, but because it came up in one of the discussions long ago, and I remembered, I thought it is important to introduce it here, particularly when I'm telling that, hey, for female, the Kunti Devi's role is something that is worth the study. It is something that one can evolve from and evolve with and grow, right? And this is very essential for the society, etc. When I talk about this, I thought informing about this as well is equally valid here, because it doesn't mean you will only read if you are a female by gender. It means that we have to understand, and whenever the feminine aspect of it emanates from us, we need to understand the disciplines that we need to hold. And whenever the masculinity kind of emanates in us, we need to understand what those Anushasan are going to be. But I have not covered it here, so we will proceed further. Basically, in Shastra, we say that there is nothing called as right or wrong. The only aspiration should be to continue the analysis till we find the truth. Develop a lifestyle that pursues exploration without impacting action. Remember, every exploration that you do should be based on a proof or evidence. Now, that can be based on various means. I think I have in the slide put two, but I would even put the third one as a guru or as a government, as a political party, or anything that you want, anybody, right? So it is based on two. One is Veda. In the tradition that we come from, if something is said in Veda, that is considered as a proof of or an evidence. The second one is Nyaya. We add an or to this Nyaya because for a situation, if we do not get the uh, convincing answer from Veda itself, right? Though Veda is taken as a praman, if for a question it is not finding yourself suitable, then you need to jump into Nyaya, which is through debates or logical analysis, etc. This is the means to find the truth. But till you find the truth, you can be in the domain of what we call as belief system. When you are in the domain called as a belief system, then it is this person, this book, this means, and that is what I put a dot on. I don't go any further. The realization of the truth should be our objective. Know your praman. It could be a pratyaksham or paroksham or aprathyaksham. Pratyaksham means, say for example, I am hungry, right? I don't have to find out. I don't have to put a test tube into my stomach to find out I am hungry, or I don't have to put my, take a blood test to determine, right? Pratyaksham, it is a direct anubhavam for us. The second level is seeing. When I'm seeing or hearing or something, there is a problem that the praman may have a dosha, right? Prameyam may have a dosha, or pramata may have a dosha, which means that place also, despite the fact that it is a pratyaksham, there still can be a dosham that we try to address. Paroksham is when it is indirectly known through a book, through a guru. That is the way that we learn that. Then aprathyaksham is something which you have not directly seen, but you can estimate. Say you go out and you see the entire street is full of, it is fully wet. Then you know it has rained, right? So you are making a, what do you say, arthapati, you are making uh, a derived conclusion, which is giving you a gyan, right? We need to understand what is the praman. But if a conclusion is not possible, leave it open. You don't have to necessarily close it. So actions are both dependent and independent of knowledge. Higher the degree of knowledge associated with the action, the better outcome the actions will provide. Vivekaha is the ability to prioritize action over knowledge or truth. So this is a very basic summary of what we were trying to do when we went into the Garbha Upanishad, or trying to see what such objections are. So if at any time you come up with an objection, or if you come up with some kind of a question, then we will ensure that we will try to get as in-depth as possible and address those questions. And it is good that you ask such questions, right? Not restrict yourself, and try to even meditate upon asking the question, right? So that helps you to grow with Bhagavad Gita. Moving on, Shloka number 6. Yudha manyuscha vikranta uttamaujaschа viryavan saubhadro draupadeyascha sarvayeva maharathaha. So here Duryodhan continues to name the key ones in Pandava army. Yudha Manyu. He is a warrior from Panchala kingdom. He was killed on the 18th night of the 18th day of war. Right. The cha emphasizes close association to Uttamaujaha. Uttamojascha Viryavan. Right. So Vikrantaha is an attribution, and Uttamauja is another person from Panchala kingdom. They are not, what do you say, seen together. Means they are not related or anything of that sort. They don't hold any great kingdom. They are not, princes, or there is nothing much about it. However, they are there are places where they are identified with Amshuman and Aryaman, Adityas. Right. So there are places where there are tales that tell it so, but in Mahabharata there is no mention about it. They both are always mentioned together, and they played an important role of protecting the chariot of Arjuna. We will talk about what it is in a different conversation, but remember, when I am creating the vyuha, etc., what is very important is ensuring my mobility. Right. This ensuring the mobility involves clearing the front, ensuring that the back is clear, and that the, what is a rath is not being attacked from the forces, and so on and so forth. And there is an important role that is played to support the Maharathis. So here Yudhamanyu and Uttamoja were in charge of Arjuna's rath. Saubhadraha is Arjuna's and Subhadra's son. Because he is Subhadra's son, he is called as Saubhadraha. That is Abhimanyu. Draupadeyaha. That is the five, five younger Pandavas or sons of Draupadi, Upapandavas. They are Prativindhya, son of Yudhishthira, Suta Soman, son of Bhima, Shruta Karman, son of Arjuna, Shatanikan, which is son of Nakul, and Shrutasenan, which is Sahadeva's son, who is Sahadeva's son. Now, all these five are killed on the 18th night again, in the night raid that happens on the night of the 18th day of the war. And all of them are being called as Maharathaha. We will talk about the children of Pandavas later, but for this shloka, we will just take a look at Abhimanyu, a very beautiful tale. He was the son of Subhadra and Arjuna. Abhimanyu was primarily raised and trained in Dwaraka under the guidance of Krishna. Before the exile, Arjuna had already begun instructing him in warfare. Right. So it already, Arjuna kick-started the education, but then because of the exile and because the child was still very young, he was sent to Dwaraka under the guidance of Krishna. He married Uttara, daughter of King Virata. Now what happens is, Arjuna goes as one of that Napunsaks to go and teach dancing to Uttara. And when the 1 year is completed, Virata king comes and says, please marry my daughter. Right? Now that she has spent the whole year with you, you should marry her, is the kind of a thing. And to that, Arjuna says, hey, I have been her guru. As a guru, for me to marry is wrong. So I would rather suggest that my child, my son, Abhimanyu can be married to Uttara. That is how he got married. As per Mahabharata, he is the only wife. Uttara is the only wife of Abhimanyu. However, there is a tale in which Shashireka, also known as Vatsala, who is the daughter of Balarama, right, got married to Abhimanyu. This is more, I think, a lot of south-based tales are there, right, where we get these kind of stories, but this is not part of Mahabharata. In this, what is a tale, what happens is Ghatotkach will disguise himself as Sashireka, and he will marry Lakshmana, and he will end up breaking the arms of Lakshmana, that is son of Duryodhana. And in the meantime, Abhimanyu would have taken away Sashireka and he would have gotten married. That is the way that story goes. But that is not as per Mahabharata. He learned how to enter the Chakravyuha, but he did not get to learn how to exit it. He is considered one of the greatest warriors. In a fight, he ties with Bhishma Pitama. He defeats Lakshmana twice. He kills Vikarna, Chitrasena, and several other brothers of Kauravas. He even successfully fights Duryodhan, which doesn't end with either of them winning or losing. So that is the greatness of Abhimanyu. On the 13th day, they will make a strategy to divert Arjuna and Krishna and engage Pandavas in a Chakravyuha. It is only Arjuna who could have broken the Chakravyuha, but using the Chakravyuha, the idea was to capture Yudhishthir and stop or conclude the war with their victory being registered. So, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, Duryodhan, Karna, Ashwathama, Shalya, and Jayadratha, Dushasana, they are the best of the Kauravas. Everyone comes together. Jayadratha will call out saying that I have a boon to stop Pandavas for one day. I will use that boon to stop them. What happens is, seeing the great fight that Abhimanyu puts, they decide to get, the others to not come in and ensure that the Chakravyuha that they have put is successful. But Abhimanyu, because he knew how to enter the Chakravyuha, he devises a plan to say that, hey, let me go into the Chakravyuha. You guys follow me. And that will ensure that this is done. When such a aspect comes about, then Jayadratha says, I have this boon. Let me stop the Pandavas from coming in. So that way, it is only Abhimanyu who enters the Chakravyuha, while the rest of the army is held back by Jayadratha. Abhimanyu engages and defeats Duryodhana, Dushasana, Dronacharya, Ashwathama, Karna, Shakuni. He kills several great warriors, including Lakshmana, son of Duryodhan. When Lakshmana is killed, that is when they get very, very angry. Right? So now they think in terms of how to stop this guy who is unstoppable. Right? So they devise a plan, which was kind of done by Shakuni, or which was provided by Shakuni. And they say that, hey, we have to attack Abhimanyu simultaneously. And they strategically put things in a place such that Karna attacks from behind. He breaks the bow. There is one who breaks the chariot. There are people who kill the horse. They target the weapon and kill all the weapons. But now Abhimanyu has nothing. So he will take the wheel of the chariot and fight. At this time, Dushasan's son attacks him from behind and breaks his skull. And even as Abhimanyu will be dying, he fights back and kills that person as well. That was the beauty, or that was the greatness of that fight of Abhimanyu. Well, the way that it is said in tradition is true. The Kauravas won this particular battle with Abhimanyu, but Kauravas were defeated, is the way we see. Why? Because this ethical violation that they did brought their honor down. Bhishma and Karna saw it as Kauravas going against the principles of Dharma. It created disturbances in the ranks of Kauravas. That is a big, big, big blow. So, Ashwatthama he was as backbone of, or one of the main pillars of Kaurava army. He was very angry with the way that they did this particular unjust killing. Now, later, Jayadratha is killed on the 14th day with a woe by Arjuna, etc. But the aspect is, when you take adharma to fight the war, even if you strategically win the battle, you will eventually, get defeated in the war, because what you did as an adharma will spread within your own army. And that is the problem. So we need to keep that in mind and learn from the fact that that dharma is the only means for eternity and success. So with this, we will go to the shloka number 7. अस्माकं तु विशिष्टाये तान्निबोध द्विजोत्तम नायका मम सैन्यस्य संज्ञार्थं तान् ब्रवीमि ते to you. Let me tell you the names of those on our side, just for the name's sake. Okay, that is the way Duryodhana is going to approach or to convey those great heroes in the side of Kauravas to Dronacharya. But given time is 7:29, we will take a break here and take to question and answers. Thank you. So, let us start with Prabha. You are on the top. Are you back with audio? If not, we can always go next. Feel free to speak if you have to. Jyoti ji?
No questions.
No questions.
Okay, right. So that's a beautiful question from Prabhakar. So everything is not fair in love and war. I don't even understand why this particular phrase has gained so much of significance. Love and war and everything is fair is in itself a very, very misleading statement. What has happened is, this particular statement, which is more of the Western philosophy perhaps, only emphasizes that for the sake of the result, I can take any compromise or I can make any compromise. In the Dharma Shastra, it is established that the results are not in your hand. The more you think that the results are something that you are controlling, the more you are making a fool of yourself. This statement that everything is fair in love and war merely states that for some accomplishment, I can do anything, dharma or adharma, or correct or wrong, legal or illegal. That notion, that thought in itself, in my opinion, is wrong. So, yes, everything is not fair in love, war, or anything. It is always the duty, the dharma, and the devotion that you express, which is supreme of all. Thank you for the question, Prabha. Well, okay. So we will take a break here today and go to the Shanti part. हरिः ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः